The Prophet Muhammad said there was a king among the kings, and that king had a priest who was his soothsayer, and the priest said, "Look for me, as a boy who understands," or he said, "intelligent, and has learned, so I can teach him this knowledge of mine, for I fear that I will die, and this knowledge will be cut off from you, and there will be no one among you to teach it." He said, so they looked at him as he described, so they ordered him to bring that priest and to go to him, so he started to go to him, and on the boy's path was a monk in a hermitage. Mama said, "I think that the owners of the hermitages were Muslims at that time." He said, so the boy began to ask that priest give away everything he passes by. He continued with it, until he told him, and he said, "I only worship God." He said, so the boy began to stay with the monk, and was late for the priest, so the priest sent to the boy's family saying that he would hardly come to me, so the boy told the monk that, and the monk said to him, "If the priest says to you, 'Where have you been?' so say, 'With my family,' and if your family says to you, 'Where have you been?' so tell them that you were with the priest." He said, while the boy was doing that, he passed by a group of many people, who were trapped by an animal, and some of them said, that animal was a lion. So the boy took a stone and said, "O God, if what the monk says is true, then I ask you to kill it." He said, then he shot and killed the animal. The people said, "Who killed her?" They said, "The boy." So the people were terrified and said, "This boy knew knowledge that no one else knew." He said, then a blind man heard about it, and he said to him, "If you restore my sight, then such and such is yours." He said to him, "I do not want this from you, but have you seen that if your sight is restored to you, will you believe in the one who restored it to you?" He said, "Yes." He said, so he prayed to God to restore his sight, and the blind man believed. The king was informed of their matter, so he sent for them, and they were brought, and he said, "I will kill each one of you in a way that I will not kill his neighbor." So he ordered the monk and the man who was blind. So he put down the saw at the intersection of one of them, he killed him, and killed the other with other killers. Then he ordered the boy and said, "Go to such and such mountain, and throw him by the head." So they set off with him to the mountain. When they reached the place from which they wanted to meet him, they started to retreat from that mountain and retreat, until only some of them remained. "The boy," he said. Then he returned, and the king ordered that they take him to the sea, and throw him into it. So he took him to the sea, and God drowned those who were with him and saved him. The boy said to the king, "You will not kill me until you crucify me, and throw me away, and say, when you shoot me, in the name of God, 'God is the Lord of this boy.'" He said, so he ordered that he be crucified. Then he stoned him and said, "In the name of God, Lord of this boy." He said, the boy placed his hand on his temple when he was shot, then he died. And some people said, "This boy has learned knowledge that no one has taught him, for we believe in the Lord of this boy." He said, then it was said to the king, "Are you alarmed that 3 people have disagreed with you in this scholar? All of them have disagreed with you." He said, so he dug a trench, then threw wood and fire into it, then gathered the people. He said, "Whoever turns away from his religion, we will leave him, and whoever does not, we will throw him into this fire." So he started throwing them into that ditch. He said, God, blessed and most high, says about it, "The inmates of the furrow were killed by the fueling fire until it reached Allahs, the praiseworthy." He said, as for the boy, he was buried. He said, it is mentioned that he was taken out in the time of Omar ibn al-Khattab, and his finger on his temple, as he placed it when he was killed.